The dashboard you're looking at? Let me tell you something that will blow your mind. My team spent weeks designing it, sub-pixel tweaking of the components, perfecting the design system, annotating, making it beautiful, flexible, functional. It was the kind of thing that used to really impress clients. And today, it's basically useless. Design systems, dashboards, panels, the entire complex UI industry is silently collapsing, and nobody wants to talk about it. So here is me, all dressed in white. AI didn't replace designers who actually design. Curious, creative people who solve problems. In fact, most senior or advanced designers that I know now have more work than ever. But AI did replace something else. It replaced the need for most dashboards, and it one-shotted the entire design system industry. And somehow that caught everyone off guard. While the creative, expressive parts of design are growing and are expanding, the boring, repetitive, organized, systemic parts are collapsing. You were told to learn how to build UI components, define variants, work with design tokens, all because design systems were framed as the most pro part of UI design. Well, not anymore. Let me break it down for you. Design systems were meant to scale repetitive work, not creative work. The idea is for them to bring consistency and speed to complex products. So it was kind of like humans making sure the machine got it right. But humans aren't perfect. Yeah, not even me. So adding rigid constraints on top of that imperfection made people way less creative. Who wants to drag and drop the same boring form components all day and then shift A them into variants or different styles or pages? And then do this every day for months or years. And I know I worked on systems that had 1800 screens. But AI, on the other hand, is literally perfect for this. At first, it was meant to help you organize stuff. Pretty innocent, right? You auto-layout your components and then AI writes your documentation. But then something happened. If AI can create UI, grow it, maintain it, generate versions or variations on demand, why do you still need to maintain a system of any kind? When the generator becomes the system, there is zero need for humans in the mix anymore. Mic drop. The system is already coded. It can grow by itself. It can enforce its own consistency, and because it's AI generated, doesn't it cause some problems? Well, most systems end up looking almost exactly the same anyway. It's like Shadcn and Tailwind had a baby. And honestly, this is fine for most complex products that aren't consumer facing. Most B2B things can be boring. But this also collapses the entire economic and organizational logic behind the need for design systems. Companies don't need huge teams to manage the system anymore. They don't need to maintain a giant UI library. They don't need to consult the design system team anymore if they want to add a new feature. And they don't even need Figma. They just say in plain English what they want. And speaking of Figma, I kind of realized that the whole push that everyone needs a design system was just a marketing trick for them to just sell you more seats. Because if you need a huge team to manage a complex growing library and you need people collaborating on it all the time, that means they're gonna be selling more paid seats, enterprise and professional. So they overhyped design systems, making everyone think that every single product needs them. While in reality, some do, obviously, but not that many. So yeah, AI solved design systems for us. It solved them so well, it made them obsolete. And the boring UI work and the drag and dropping and auto layouting, it's slowly disappearing. Learning tokens, variants, components, makes very little sense anymore. Which naturally leads us to dashboards. Dashboards are often how design systems are sold visually. There's graphs and charts and data tables, so a lot of different kinds of components all in one place, and they usually look pretty good at first glance. So it's like a perfect cover for a boring book. But dashboards were designed and built with the assumption that the user always knows what they're looking for. But do they? Sure, there are some simple solutions where you only need 5 or 6 data points, so basically 5 or 6 numbers displayed to you on a dashboard. You don't even need a graph for it really, and by just looking at those numbers you can see a top-level view of how your company is doing. But most of dashboards aren't like that. Most dashboards are throwing data, tables, graphs, charts, and other different elements in your face to overwhelm you. It has that you figure it out attitude, and it's a very high cognitive load. Our brains don't like high cognitive loads. So it's kind of like an information dump, made pretty with all the graphs and all the gradients, just to convince you that it all makes sense. But it's 100% up to you to parse it, understand it, figure it out, and come to conclusions. But are you even seeing all the relevant data? No. You're only seeing what the dashboard designer thought is gonna be necessary for you. Dashboard design is based on the assumption that you're gonna be a great data analyst. Otherwise, it's pretty useless. This is why we rarely design dashboards anymore. Sure, they're needed in a small percentage of products, but we try to always design them with simplicity in mind. So not a lot of charts and graphs and tables, only what you really need. But what we really now design for is intent, not exploration. And AI flips that complex UI system on its head. Instead of, here is all the stuff, you figure it out, we go towards, this is what you might want to know right now, and this is how to learn more. This changes everything. You don't explore. You get patterns handed to you. You can ask follow-up questions or see different connections of different data types, sometimes of the kinds that a human would never think of. It's like a collaboration session with AI that tells you about your data. You work together to get the most out of it. I'm adding all new chapters about this new paradigm in designing for complex systems into the Square Block Blueprint, obviously link in the description. But now let's go back to the dashboards and what the future of design is. I believe this shift is essential because users don't want data anymore. They want meaning. They want a solution. They don't want more problems to solve. And this is the part that most people miss. Sure, it does hallucinate sometimes, so you need to be aware of that and work around it. But we all will. We already have learned that. When we ask any kind of AI, we at least always should do some research after the fact to see if it's even true. Dashboards made you connect the dots. AI connects them for you so you can start connecting entire clusters of dots together into a more comprehensive way that will push your business forward. And once you realize what this shift is about, you'll realize that all the dashboards and systems that we kept perfecting for years and years and years were never a goal. They were just a bridge, a workaround, a temporary connection between humans and data, until some technology disrupts it. And we're almost there. Sure, we're not fully there. AI hallucinates, AI makes stuff up, AI is not fully reliable, but so are people. And we used to rely on people to parse the data from the dashboards for us, and we were fine with them making the mistakes. So now having that ability, but much faster and with a much larger data set and with much more insight, it just doesn't make sense to go with dashboards anymore. So the future of UX for complex systems is not going to be data and charts and graphs and tables. It's going to be adaptive, contextual systems. They need to guide you instead of overwhelm you. And we need to mention, they don't need to necessarily be a chatbot. It's not about turning everything into ChatGPT. They just need to adapt to the circumstance, and they need to provide you the right information at the right time. Intent-based. Human-centric in a way that dashboards never really were. Users never really wanted data. Data is for computers. People wanted clarity. People wanted confidence. And people wanted a next step suggestion. And this is where the systemic design part is going next. But obviously there is a whole other side of design that's blowing up right now, and if you want me to talk about it, make sure to subscribe to the channel and let me know in the comments, and that way we might finally all have a beautiful day.